Today we are going to be reading the conclusion of our story, Small Steps, the Year I Got Polio. Remember, a conclusion is how we wrap up a story. That means we restate our main ideas and we make sure that the readers understand the purpose or lesson behind the story. Here is Chapter 18, Back to School. In April, after months in hospitals and therapy at home, Peg is finally allowed to go back to school. "Did the new braces work?" I asked. Dorothy shook her head no. "My brothers are building a ramp so I can get in and out of our house." I was glad that she was going home and sad that she would always need the wheelchair. When it was time for us to leave, I hugged Dorothy, wondering if I would ever see her again. We promised to write often, and that promise held back my tears. We had good intentions, but letters between me and my roommate slowed, in both directions. There were 2 new girls in 202 now. About 2 weeks after she was discharged, I got a letter from Dorothy. "I wanted to leave sheltering arms more than anything," she wrote, "but now sometimes I wish I could go back. Isn't that silly?" It wasn't silly to me. We were safe at the sheltering arms, cocooned in room 202, where everyone understood what it was like to have polio. Getting around in the normal world, even in our own homes, was more difficult than hospital life. In April, I got permission to return to school. I was still on my walking sticks, but I could go up and down stairs if I held the railing with both hands, and had someone carry my sticks for me. I was slow because both feet had to touch every step, but I could make it. Dad bought me a backpack for my books. I was to start by attending only in the mornings. If I could manage that, I would gradually work up to a full day. On my first day back, I was so nervous my hands began to sweat, and I was afraid the sticks would slip out of my grasp. What if people never quit staring? What if no one would carry my sticks up and down stairs for me? What if I couldn't get around in the crowded halls and fell? Worst of all, what if I discovered that I was hopeless behind the other kids in every class? When I walked into my first period class, which happened to be English, the students whistled and clapped and cheered, welcoming me back. All morning, kids begged for a turn to carry my sticks up or down the stairs. They offered to help me with my backpack. They walked ahead of me in the halls, clearing space. Without knowing it, I had become a celebrity. Since I was the only person in Austin to get polio that year, the whole town had followed my progress while I was in the hospital. It seems all of Austin had been pulling for me, hoping I would walk again. Rather than falling behind in my classes, it quickly became clear that I had remained equal or even pulled slightly ahead. By the end of the morning, I felt sure that I would pass the final exams. My last class of the morning was chorus practice. Thanks to all those songs in the dark, my singing voice was improved, even though I now used my stomach muscles rather than my diaphragm. As I found my seat and placed my sticks on the floor beside me, I remembered how my skirt had jumped because of my twitching thigh muscle on homecoming day, and how I had collapsed in the hall when chorus ended. I had been gone 7 months. I had been gone a lifetime. Although I returned on walking sticks, moving slowly and taking small steps, I knew that in many ways I was stronger than when I left. I opened my music and began to sing. Now, you need to go get your reading notebook out again. Remember, not the Amplify book with the guava, but your reading notebook with the blank pages and lines. If you need time to find it, go ahead and pause the video. Today, in your reading notebook, I want you to answer this question. How did the story end? We've been reading about her long journey of getting polio, trying to recover from her polio. I want you to write down how it ended. And then I want you to write down if you liked the ending of the story or not. If you want to, you can even explain why you liked it or didn't like it. Once you get that written down in your notebook, you're going to do the same thing as yesterday and take a picture of what you wrote and turn it into Seesaw on the activity that says Amplify 13.1. Remember, it's okay that the thing you're turning in is not an Amplify. That's just what the activity is called. But turn in a picture of what you wrote down in your reading notebook to answer this question. How did the story end? And did you like the ending of the story? Why or why not?